podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.
Welcome to this week's Film Masters.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome people to episode 398 of Film Bastards. I am one of your co-hosts, Mark Foster, and as ever, I am joined by...
Becky Foster, hello everyone.
And...
Ian Loring, happy Cinema Eve.
It is Cinema Eve, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's an exciting time of the year. Yes, cinemas reopen tomorrow. We're recording on a Sunday. We usually record on Monday or Tuesday. We used to record on Sundays. We're recording it on a Sunday because it was the most convenient fucking day.
Well, it was basically, if we didn't record this like today, we wouldn't be recording for a week.
Because we're off on holiday out, Rebecca.
We are.
We're going on holiday tomorrow, so we are out of office from today, aren't we?
We are. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh God. Oh, I bet you're ooh, and I don't want to. No, just move on.
What have we got? We've got. I would say our most normal show we've had. I've said this last week, but I think this is our most normal show. We don't have 17 reviews of everything that's streaming at the moment.
This week we don't anyway. Get ready for next week.
Yeah, well, I'll wait for next week. Yeah, literally, just getting back to it is going to be just what we've been watching is just going to be all of our feature reviews.
Yep.
And that is a wonderful thing to say. So we've got just one review. It is the Netflix movie, Netflix purchased movie, The Woman in the Window.
Should have saved their money, shouldn't they?
Well, let's get to that. And we've got the usual...
charged $5 for it, Bex. They're fine.
We've got the usual news and tangents and what we've been watching.
And a very exciting trailer for a film that we're all quite excited for, I think.
Oh, yes, we do, yes.
God,
and
it's simple. It's a good job you're pretty.
It is, yes. I think you completely destroyed my flow now. Oh, we are a Pod Syndicate podcast. There are other Pod Syndicate podcasts out there, including Chinstroke vs. Punter, The Rewatch Project, His Film, Her Movie, The Iron Sequel, Entertainment Landfill, and other bits and bats, including bonus shows. You guys just finished your There and Back Again.
Mm-hmm.
Your review of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. We'll be starting another series at some point with the various collaborators for the Pod Syndicate thing for the bonus shows. We've thrown around a few ideas about which film series we're going to do next. And so we're going to get to work out which one we're going to do next. I think on that.
Got to plan it forward in a couple of weeks.
We have got to plan it forward in a couple of weeks. Oh, shit. And I need to get your Blu-rays posted to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I need to send Jordan that Blu-ray, actually. Good call.
Yes. Also, as well, while I'm here, go check out the YouTube on it. There's less gaming stuff than we've had recently, but there is the excellent series of No Bills a Gundam, which are a lot of fun.
I keep seeing this. What is a Gundam?
A Gundam is essentially like a Transformer. So
it's not going to kill you for that.
Huh?
Is it like that? Kind of feels like the kind of thing that if you were to say that to someone in the Gundam community, they might be like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
It's one of those where I think it's.
It's I'm saying. What the fuck is a Gundam? That sounds stupid. I'm trying to educate myself.
What I would say is the Gundam community seems to genuinely be just a really nice group of people. And that's quite rare nowadays in fandom and geekdom, that there's just a nice group of people. But I've ended up, because of the wonders of the algorithms of YouTube, it's ended up throwing me to different Gundam ones. I also got to a wonderful one of a guy who has a big box, and I think Noel actually referenced this as well on our WhatsApp. A guy who gets a big box of Transformers and then gets one out, randomly picks one out, and then to the camera just describes what it is, and then takes a shot, and then does it again, and just keeps going like that. So he ends up fucking hammered, picking out Transformers and going, this is... I fucking don't know. It's quite wonderful. Yeah, so yes, go and look at the No Bills a Gundam. They're an awful lot of fun and quite fascinating to watch.
I'll have some free time next week, so I may check it out.
They're good. They're great. They're fun. It's gonna be a good series going forward.
They're very chill.
Yeah, they are. They are really fucking chill. It is like some ASMR shit, but without the weird masturbatory things that go with it.
Gross.
Says you.
Boom. Ian, what's been happening in the movie world that isn't like cinemas are reopening?
Not much.
Jungle Cruise is going to Disney
Oh,
Plus.
yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's odd, isn't it? I have a theory behind these.
They don't think it's going to make that much money.
Yeah. What is it? I think there's a little bit of with that and Cruella. What they're doing is they're almost like hedging their bets with them, so they can have them on that. Because then if it does make money, it makes it look great. But if it's not making as much money, they can they don't have to release the like the figures for the rental figures. But they can kind of say, oh, it's done this. So they never get this flopped.
Yeah.
They never have to put up with that.
Yeah, there'll be like viewing figures and stuff, won't there? But people are gonna view it if it's on there and it's done.
Which not, it's for 20 quid.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I'll have to go to the cinema.
Yeah.
But if you've got a family of mum, dad, and 2-3 kids, and you're still feeling a little bit edgy about things, or anything like that, which is perfectly reasonable, then maybe you'll go, fuck it, let's get a pizza in.
That's it. If it's a few of you, I think it's worth it, isn't it? It's just.
So the key thing with the Disney Premier Access is essentially you're paying an inflated, like a bit of an inflated price compared to like a normal like PVOD rental, premium video on demand rental, but you keep it in your Disney Plus library so you can watch it as many times as you want.
Yeah.
That is quite a selling point. Because like to a massive Marvel head, if you were to say you got like your family, you're going to pay like 25-30 quid to take your family to go see Black Widow in the cinema, or you pay $23.99 or whatever it's going to be, and then you can just watch Black Widow as much as you want on Disney Plus from now on. That's a pretty attractive deal. The only thing is they are making very clear that at time of speaking, Cruella, Black Widow, and Jungle Cruise are the only ones they're doing this for. And then from Free Guy onwards, it's back to theatrical, and then 45 days later, Disney Plus. Like that seems to be the way they're going about it now. But you wonder, with all these variants and whatnot, what's going to happen, what is actually going to happen. I'll also just say, remind me when we're done talking about this, there was like a tangent I wanted to say, but one other thing. The Rock announcing this on Instagram and then also tying in that he was going to go and have one of his Terramera drinks or whatever in his post talking about Jungle Cruise going on to Disney Plus. And that guy just fucking stop it.
Yeah, it's gone a little bit. It's gone a little bit too far now.
Like, I can't imagine Disney are that happy about that. Like, here's like the star of the film announcing it's going to be on Disney Plus. Oh, and also buy my alcohol. Very odd, but yeah. Anyway, sorry.
It all seems, and the whole alcohol, actors, owning alcohol companies, all feels a little bit like when Clooney sold it was a vodka company, wasn't it, that he had
Tequila,
for a massive amount of money. It all seems a little bit like they've gone, ooh, maybe we could do that.
Do you know what though? The Rock has got this real kind of there's influencers,
Yeah.
and then there's the really shitty, desperate fucking influencers. That's what he feels like. It's like you don't have to mention it in everything. It's a bit fucking pathetic, to be honest.
It was when he started spamming your Instagram feed with people who had sent him videos of them drinking his tequila, and it's like, yeah, unfair.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not really that bothered, but yeah, the Jungle Cruise one.
Though enough people do that, then his brand's damaged.
You need to get a few million to do it. And the problem is there's those ones who still think that because they follow him on Instagram and they like all his posts and comment on everything one of his posts, one day he might be their mate. Yeah, it's been a quiet news week, I think, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I will just tangent slightly if that's okay. So I thought it was interesting as well that when Cineworld announced that they were going to put tickets on sale, people had tweeted them saying, like, you're going to be showing Nomadland. And they said, we've got no plans to show Nomadland. Now they are. And it's right after they announced that they've done a deal with Disney and Universal about the theatrical window. So essentially, even though, I mean, it is a little bit confusing, but essentially there will be a 45-day window for Universal and Disney films, which is down from a 90-day window. But, you know, Nomadland is on Disney Plus. Cruella is going to be on Disney Plus Premier Access. But he's also going to be in the cinema. And it's like, so is it 45 days where they can also sell it for like a really inflated price online? Or is it just because they'd already kind of said they were going to do, Disney said they were going to do that before Cineworld then made that deal? Like the whole shifting of what exactly these windows mean, I think is going to be really, really fucking interesting as we go forward here now. Like, will In the Heights be available on PVOD and cinemas? Because you go to the cinema tomorrow, you can see Mortal Kombat, you can see Godzilla vs. Kong, Tom and Jerry the movie. You can already rent them online anyway. I don't know what that
Tom
window
and Jerry's
means anymore.
Sky Cinema, isn't it?
Is it?
I might be talking whack there, but I'm fairly certain I saw it.
You talking out your ass?
I mean, usually, to be honest, yeah.
It's like 6 months down the line, assuming cinemas don't close again, which is a massive fucking assumption to make, and I'm, you know, a touch wood that they do stay open. But what is it gonna look like? Is it just these things were already agreed, but like say Dune, is Dune gonna be PVO, like expensive video on demand and cinema for 45 days? No, I mean that's it, isn't it?
Dune will be just cinema, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I mean, so that's it then. It's like Mortal Kombat and Godzilla vs. Kong had already been out before, and Tom and Jerry had already been out before cinemas opened, so they just kind of throw them a gimme. But then after that, you know, I'll be honest. I think Donna would probably like In the Heights, and if that is on PVOD, I would, and I can see it in nice 4K on iTunes. I'd probably do that because it would be easier than sorting out who's going to look after lots and whatnot. You know what I mean? But I want to see it in the cinema. I don't know. It's a really, really fucking interesting time. But hey, if this Indian variant comes along and all the cinemas are closed again in a month anyway, then, you know, a lot of them probably aren't going to fucking open again. So let's see. We're in a fun holding pattern, and I'm nervous.
I think,
and you're not.
Fine. Nope. I think it's going to be fine. I think there's a little bit of scaremongering going on.
There is a little bit of scaremongering going on, but also the fact that Boris Johnson is already talking about the June relaxations. Just going to say it.
The June relaxation things were always were always a bit pie in the sky. Even people, when they announced it 4 months ago, went, that seems a little bit optimistic.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from pandemic.
I think we're at trailers now, aren't we?
I'm intrigued. In my mind, we talked about Venom last week. I think we did.
But Becky, you hadn't seen it, had you?
No.
At that point. So we did, but Bex hadn't seen it. So Venom, Becky.
Looks good, yeah.
That's it. Cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks.
What's the big one? Sorry, I can't remember.
Was it the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, Becky? Was that the big one?
No.
Is it not? No. Because I'm very much up for that.
I told you what it was.
I know, I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were being a bit dumb.
Thanks for that iPad.
The fuck was it?
Oh, you wanted me to say?
Yes.
Is that the only one? I thought we were building up.
We'll build it up, yeah. We watched the Fatherhood one, Ian, that you watched last week.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just a movie engineered to try and make people cry.
Uh-huh.
It'll work.
Oh, it will work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on you. Because you're dead inside.
I think I laughed a lot at one bit, didn't I?
Yeah.
Not the horrible bit. There was a joke. It was you're meant to laugh at it bit towards the end, wasn't there? It was. It was a joke. It was a joke, wasn't it?
I don't know. I can't remember which bit you laughed at.
But it was a joke. I'm sure it was a joke.
In my head, you were laughing at the fact that his wife had died.
No,
so.
that wasn't it. There was a genuine joke within the trailer that I laughed heartily at.
It's going to be a tearjerker, is that movie?
Yes. Stillwater.
So, do you reckon Matt Damon's looked at Jesse Plemons as fat Matt Damon and gone, I want a piece of that action, and just got fat?
I reckon Matt Damon's missus has gone, that Jesse Plemons guy, yeah, he's a good looking fella, isn't he? And he's gone, he's just me, but a bit chunkier.
Yeah, so he's decided to get fat.
Yeah.
I just asked her if you want a partner swap. Sorry.
What was that? I missed that. I was coughing.
I was just saying, I'd just say to her, well, do you want a partner swap then? I'll spend a bit of time with Kirsten Dunst, no problem, fucking hell.
Stillwater looks a bit boring, to be honest. Looks like a movie that should have come out in 2008.
Yeah.
And I still wouldn't have watched it.
Got Thursday night written all over it.
I think I described it as, I am looking forward to scrolling past that movie on Netflix and never actually watching it.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like that. Do you know that George Clooney one called is it The American?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I never watched that. I watched the first 3 minutes of it once and then went, no, I don't want to watch this. I watched something else instead. Thinking that I'd go back to it and I never went back to it.
Never did.
No. Because every time I thought, oh, I'll watch this, I realised that there was a lot of other films that existed as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's perfectly fine. I just don't care. No. It's one of those films where I feel like I don't need to have seen.
No.
And Stillwater seems like it might be that. It might get really good reviews and I might go change my mind. But it just does look a little bit like,
dull.
Do I need this?
Yeah.
It's not the origin story of the band from Almost Famous. So, do I need it?
I'd watch that.
I mean, yeah, we would.
Yeah.
The Protégé. I think you watched this last week, didn't you, Ian?
No. What's this?
With Margaret Quigley. Maggie Q.
Is that her name, Quigley?
I think so.
Do you reckon she was
Margaret Qualley, isn't it?
Let's have a look.
I think you're thinking of different people.
All right, let's have a look.
Who else?
I don't know. I don't think I saw this.
Who else is it?
Margaret Denise Quigley.
Who else is the Protégé, Becky?
It's got a weird name on it. The Asset, that's it.
What is it? Oh, it's changed its name.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, that's it. Yeah, it's a
Patrick.
It's a badass lady assassin movie.
Yeah, from the people from the studio that brought you John Wick.
Yes. Literally, there seems to be a lot of things from the studio that brought you John Wick, and it does seem like they're going, look, we need a lady assassin movie, so they're making a lot of them. You know, there's Ava, that was Jessica Chastain's attempt at it. There's a new one that's called Kate, I believe, that's got Mary Elizabeth Winstead in it.
Yes.
There's the Protégé, which I'm sorry, they should just call it whatever the character's name is. That's bullshit. There was that one from Luc Besson last year. Anna, I believe it's called.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the lady names, what is it?
The lady names range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genre. Looks good though. I will happily.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be a really good midweek cinema watch.
Nice.
And then the final one, the biggie.
The Green Knight trailer.
Oh fuck! I thought we talked about that last week.
No.
Wow.
It
Shit.
only came out 5 days ago.
I just. Oh god, yeah. Tuesday we recorded Monday. Yeah. Whew. Oh boy, howdy. Let's go.
Yeah, when the giants appeared, walking, my brain just went, oh fucking hell. All right, yeah, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
For your brain, I would expect it to just go, they're big.
That's reminding me of something. I'll come to that in a second.
Okay.
I'll come to the thing that reminded me of in a second because it was beautiful. No, it very much. There are certain directors where you go, this guy's operating on a fucking different level, and I think David Lowery is now in that. If this is as good as it looks like it's going to be, then there is the thing of. Is Larry just now in that zone where it's just like the things he's thinking of and the things he's managing to execute is different fucking level. Yeah, this has gone. I was only very much looking forward to it. It's now shot up to my most anticipated movie of this year.
More than Candyman.
Yeah, I think so. This looks fucking incredible.
Oh, fuck you.
I hope this is either. Because Lowery knows how to make a movie and not have it overstay its welcome. So he's one of the directors now where if this movie turns out and it's 3 hours long, I know that it's because there is enough material to make it 3 hours long. Because he's previously made movies that have been like 92 minutes when he could have easily made them be 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
You know, he isn't afraid to have a movie have enough time to tell its story. And if it only takes 95 minutes, then it only takes 95 minutes. But if it needs 2 hours, it'll take 2 hours.
Yeah, the imagery looks fucking incredible. That cast is on point. Yeah, and God, yeah. Again, I just please, fucking Christ, let cinemas stay open so we can see this big.
There's one red flag for me, and I'm really hoping this is the one that subverts the trend for me, which is the A24 thing.
But I think that with A24, with David Lowery, it's a director who I think is actually weirdly a weird thing is he doesn't appear to be in like the Twitter sphere film fandom thing. Lowery doesn't appear to be like a hot name within it, whereas people like Ari Aster, for instance, does. Where it makes people go, oh, fucking hell, it's the new Ari Aster film. It's like, great, I'm looking forward to the new film that I will find hilarious and will be told I'm wrong for. Still maintain Midsommar's a fucking comedy. And I will not hit anything fucking against that. That film is a comedy, without question. But yeah, it doesn't seem to hit that. Like I did see a lot of people when people were excited about this trailer, and this is I'm going to get mildly on my soapbox a little bit here, because the view's brilliant from up here. Is a lot of people were like really fucking excited about this trailer because it's a fucking great trailer.
Yeah.
Right? For a film that looks really fucking good. And I saw a lot of people, not like one or two, like several people saying, oh, Is there something I'm missing? Why is everyone so excited about the Green Knight? And it's like, right, a few things. One, have you seen the trailer? And two, because Dev Patel. And three, David Lowery.
And four, have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, again, four, have you seen the trailer? Oh, and five, have you seen the fucking trailer? But then I started thinking, hang on a minute, why can't you just let people be fucking excited and hyped about something? If you're not,
just move on with your day.
Oh no, move on with your day. Like I say, just done.
Yeah, why harsh people's boats?
That's it. If you look back on your Twitter and I would say if 7 or even if 5 out of your last 10 tweets are something snarky or negative, then maybe just stop doing it.
Just delete your account.
Yeah. Clearly, you're not. That level of constant negativity can't be good for you.
You wouldn't think so, would you? Find some joy in something and tweet about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I had an exchange with someone who I think listens to the pod, where. Sorry, go on. You obviously had some more to say there, Mark. Sorry.
It's not. I'm not having a go at people. I'm just saying I don't get. So just to clarify, I am not. If people who are listening have done that, I'm not having a go at you and saying stop being fucking minge face assassins of joy or anything like that. What I'm saying is I don't. It's a personal thing. I generally don't understand why people give a shit if other people
like something.
Well, I was gonna. Yeah, I mean, so he was like, well, why are people excited about it? And I was like, well, David Lowery, and this person just came back and said, don't really know who he is. And again, it's like we were talking earlier on. It's the bubble thing, Yeah. It's like, and I'm not gonna fucking gatekeep and go, well, you're obviously not a real movie fan then or anything like that, which I wouldn't be surprised if some people were doing.
Yeah.
It's but it is not. People could be interested in films and maybe not necessarily know that David Lowery is the guy who directed these films, and that's a reason to be excited. I mean, I'll be honest, if I'd seen this trailer and didn't know it was David Lowery, I'd still be like, what the fuck is that?
Well, that's cool. It. He has only directed 4 films, I believe.
Yes, Ain't Them Bodies Saints, Pete's Dragon, A Ghost Story, The Old Man and the Gun.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, if Ain't Them Bodies Saints is your least film, you're still doing all right.
Yeah, because I think because you asked me about this, didn't you, Bex? And I said, because you haven't seen Ain't Them Bodies Saints, have you?
No.
And I said, so what's like I said, it's beautiful but a little bit flawed story-wise. But it's 96 minutes long. And then Pete's Dragon is brilliant.
Yeah, that fucking film bangs.
Pete's Dragon is so much better than it has any fucking right to be.
The Old Man and the Gun's really good.
And The Old Man and the Gun's fantastic.
And A Ghost Story was the best film of that year.
Yeah, and but all of them are, with the exception of Pete's Dragon, all of them are under 95 minutes. What?
It baffles me that's your banner for that's your watermark for greatness.
It helps.
But Green Knight's 2 hours 5 minutes long, right? So I know in my head I'm very much like, right, but then that means that I trust him because he's had the restraint before. I trust him that there is 2 hours 5 minutes worth of movie in there.
And it's based on an Arthurian legend, isn't it? Of course there is. They're dense.
But then, for instance, Ari Aster has made 2 full movies. One was 2 hours 7 minutes long, and the other one was 2 hours 28 minutes long. And neither of them could fill that time.
No.
Is what I'm saying there. So it's about that thing. But yeah, you're right, Ian, there. There's a whole... Like, there's occasionally movies that crop up where you go, fucking hell, why haven't I seen that or even heard of that? I think I referenced it on. I think that might be on our. I was chatting to Mike from Chins Bunter. I'm a huge Walter Hill fan and have been for a number of years. I mean, when I say a number of years, I mean like getting on for nearly 30 years. And a few months ago, I came across a Walter Hill film that I'd never seen. Not only had I never seen of it, I'd heard of the movie but never clicked that it was a Walter Hill movie. And I'd not seen it. And it's about blues music. And I was like, how's that passed me by? And I mentioned it to Mike and he was like, oh, that's a fucking great film as well. And I was like, I just don't know how this hasn't clicked with me.
Permeated
Yeah.
your brain.
So yes, it's one of those things. It's an interesting way to look at it, and maybe a place where I need to grow a little bit more.
I don't think you're saying that people should love the Green Knight trailer, and if they don't, they're wrong. It's just, I think what you were trying to say before was, if you haven't seen it and got excited about it, don't shit all over everyone else that has. And I think that could be taken into many different areas, to be fair. Just because people don't like the same things as you do doesn't mean you have to.
I think what we're saying is start being a little bit nicer. Add positivity into your lives.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add some positivity into our listeners' lives now. The Woman in the Window is written by Tracy Letts, directed by Joe Wright, and stars Amy Adams, Gary Oldman, Anthony Mackie, Wyatt Russell, Ian's favourite Brian Tyree Henry, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Julianne of the Moors. I'm just going to find as I am doing now, and use the IMDb thing because I just find it amusing, so you have to indulge me a little bit. An agoraphobic woman living alone in New York begins spying on her new neighbours only to witness a disturbing act of violence. Also stars the voice of Anthony Mackie.
His face is in it for a second.
Briefly.
He's in there briefly.
Briefly.
You may not have remembered because it was Anthony Mackie, so you may have fallen asleep briefly.
He is a mild sedative. Ian. Ian.
Yeah.
You can use one word but multiplied to describe this movie. Which word would you choose?
Poop!
Why?
It's big poo. This film poo-poo. This film poo-poo, big poo-poo. Big poo-poo. Donna turned to me when it finished and said, I'm picking the film next week.
It's fair.
Did you look at her and go, yes, that's fair?
And I looked at her and said, well, we already agreed we're rewatching Eurovision because it's Eurovision Eve next Friday. And she said, fair point.
Yep. I think we're going to watch that out next Saturday.
Yes, we are.
Next Saturday, you're going to watch Eurovision the film, not Eurovision.
Yeah, we're not going
We're
to
not watching Eurovision, no. We watch Eurovision the film.
I like the film. The actual thing can fuck off.
The actual thing is fucking 3 hours of pure joy and people coming together to just celebrate something silly and entertaining.
Do you know what? We might actually have it on in the background while we're sat in a hot tub.
I'm telling you, if you give yourself to Eurovision, you get so much in return. I'm gonna be next week like I was around Strictly Come Dancing final night last year. I.e. an absolute mess. I cannot wait. And every single Eurovision Eve going forward, we're watching Eurovision. That film is getting an annual watch. Oh God! And she's gonna sing Husavik. And the Yaya Ding Dong Man is announcing Iceland's results.
Yeah, that I am quite looking for. And apparently it's in character as
he's just gonna shout it. Apparently, yeah, that's incredible.
He's just gonna shout it. There's a little thing of me is going in the background, going, is there gonna be a pre-recorded thing of them doing Yaya Ding Dong?
They're going to do something else to acknowledge that film.
They're gonna. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they go to Iceland and before, what is it? Is a pre-recorded thing of Rachel McAdams and Will Ferrell doing Ya Ya Ding Dong. Just that. I'm going to use the phrase scenes. I love the fact that we've started our woman in the window review by talking about a different film.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, all right, fine. Let's focus back. It's a fucking awful film, and you know we'd kind of been warmed up to the fact that it wasn't going to be great. You know, 20th Century Studios. I think it's the first thing they've ever sold to Netflix, which probably says something. And I mean, this was obviously supposed to be an awards play. It's based on a book. It's directed by Joe Wright. It stars Amy Adams. And it's just like, I was actively annoyed by it from pretty early on, where it's like, did you know I like Hitchcock? Yeah, do you know how much I like? Here's some Hitchcock. Right? And then, do you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to do like a Hitchcocky, like looking through the window across the street. And do you know what else Hitchcock likes as well? Really, really big, overly dramatic music. Danny Elfman, do you like Hitchcock? He's all right. Here's 500 grand.
It was supposed to be
fucking Trent Reznor and Atticus
Ross, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
they left it to go to Seoul and won a fucking Academy Award.
I mean, to be fair, apparently it was because like they weren't able to do the scoring for the reshoots. And then who do you get in? Everyone's favorite utility player, Danny Elfman. You know, it's I just. Okay, fine. You like Hitchcock. Like, you're literally, like I was doing, shouting at us about how much this is trying to evoke Hitchcock. Do you know what Hitchcock did as well? He made films that had stories that worked. And, you know, characters that were interesting and not just that one's a wrong. And anything else going on? Not really. The twists in it. I mean, the whole Anthony Mackie not being dead. Yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely got that for the first time he had a conversation with her.
Oh yeah.
That kid's a wrong'un. Really? You know,
I said to you straight away, Denevex, when that kid arrives, like, that kid's got a fucking weird energy. And then he went, I really like cat's tongues. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to say.
I mean, cat's tongues are pretty good, though. They're all spiky.
You don't fucking tell a random person you've just met that you really like cat's tongues.
Well, I mean, like, okay, you're going to cast Gary Oldman, and he's going to be Mr. Shifty McShifterson, which basically means he's not actually going to be the bad guy. The bad guy.
I'll get to my Gary Oldman thing when I give my summary of it.
And I mean, before I hand over, just Amy Adams, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're, and the thing, it feels so cynical that it's like it's roles based on books that were like kind of high profile and maybe have a sniff of awards to them, and I'm sure that's what her agent is going for there. It's not helping the overall perception of her. I mean, like, Arrival was what 5 years ago now, or it was Trump year. It was 5 years ago now, and I'm not sure she's done anything that's actually been good since then. Or maybe Nocturnal Animals was after.
Nocturnal Animals was literally a couple of... They were released really close together. They were like... They were literally like weeks apart, I think. Because it was like the month of Amy Adams.
I don't know what's going on with her. She was bad. I mean, she was worse in Hillbilly Elegy. But just, God, that one fucking scene in this where she's basically doing her monologue at them. And it's like... And literally, it's like it's like somebody got a stage light and just shone it in her face or something, and then awful film, and it's full of people who should know better. But Brian Tyree Henry doesn't embarrass himself. He's not in it enough to.
To be perfectly honest, going back through her IMDb, the last performance of hers that I actually think is any good is American Hustle.
She's fantastic in in Nocturnal Animals, Becky.
I think she's great in Arrival.
By
What?
a co-star, though, isn't it?
Which one?
Taylor Johnson.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh.
Nocturnal Animals is great.
Yeah.
She's not the standout in it.
Aaron Taylor Johnson taking a shit outside is pretty standout.
It's pretty damn good. That film just deserved so much more.
He won
Arrival,
a Golden Globe for that.
Fully fucking hated Arrival. It still makes me angry thinking about Arrival.
Wow.
To be fair, she's good in the TV show she did. That Sharp Objects. Yeah, she's really good in that.
So what do you think, Becky, to Woman in the Window?
Do you know what? I didn't hate it, but I didn't particularly like it. There's not much to kind of recommend it. It's very much an amalgamation of copying other people's things that they did well. But I didn't hate it. It was perfectly watchable for me. Julianne Moore was good in it. I think the creepy kid was pretty good in it. Wyatt Russell was good in it.
Wyatt Russell standing.
Yeah.
That's basically what he does is stand.
You've seen him though, right?
Yeah, it's like if you got a less hot version of Kurt.
What's the face? Jennifer Jason Leigh looks like a cartoon. And Gary Oldman's just, I can't even look at him with any degree of respect anymore. So that kind of ruined them too for me. Do you know what? I wanted to like it because I had such low expectations for it from the reviews and it's looked crap since the first trailer came out, like 400 years ago. It's looked bad, hasn't it? Like melodramatic and just.
I didn't mind the trailers, to be honest.
But yeah, it's not good. Just watch the films that it's borrowed heavily from and have a better time.
Great.
Yeah.
I think I'm more in between where you two are. In the fact that I think I agree with Ian. It's poop. It's. I don't like Joe Wright as a director. I think he's massively overrated because of one really nice shot in Atonement, and he's been trading off that ever since.
I will just say he directed Hannah. I will never ever ever hate Joe Wright because Hannah is an absolute fucking banger, but that's not the film that everyone thinks he's great for.
Yeah.
He's overrated in pretty much everything else he's done. Yes.
Yeah. I really like the Chemical Brothers video in the middle of Hannah. The rest of it just felt like filler for a Chemical Brothers video.
Hannah's fucking great.
Do you know what? I need to rewatch Hannah because everyone tells me how great it is, and I was like, I don't get this. But it's short enough for me to rewatch to see if I'm wrong, because that does happen.
I've not seen it.
You were with me when I watched it.
I wasn't. You saw it in the cinema. I did
not see it in the cinema.
You did?
I didn't. I bought it on Blu-ray.
I haven't seen Hannah.
All right.
I haven't.
Literally, Ron Howard voice. She had.
Narrator. Yes, she had.
So yeah. But like you, Becky, I was going into it going, do you know what? I hope this is all right. And this is one of those ones where I go, do you know what? Yeah, that might be trash, but it's good. But the problem is, it's not trash. And this should be trash.
It's not camp enough. Yeah,
no,
you're right.
It's not trashy enough. You either need to absolutely, but even saying that, you either need to absolutely nail it. But Rear Window is quite trashy.
It's highbrow trash, though, isn't it? This one's got delusions of grandeur.
But this is the problem with this.
Yes.
It constantly tries to not be trash. But I think Ian mentioned it. It's so convoluted, the story. that it ends up being just making a complete fucking mess of itself, and the characters don't make sense. So the whole thing feels like it could be in her imagination. Like she could just be an agoraphobic alcoholic who sees these people outside.
And he's completely making them up.
And everything that happens inside, when you see them outside, they're real people. But the ones, once they enter her house, are just made up. So David could be the guy who lives below her, but isn't her tenant. And she doesn't know him, she's just seen him. And the people who've moved across the road. And all of this, that would have been way more interesting. And I'm not going to, because it's based on a book, and apparently the book is very, very good. So, but I'm saying from just judging the film, something like that would have been way more interesting. Because the interactions he has with people, Brian Tyree Henry's partner is not a real person. How aggressive she is with it, with clearly somebody who is admitting that she has a mental, not mental illness, but a mental block with something that is a phobia. You know, Brian Tyree Henry's character deals with it really well in basically essentially stopping her from being a dick, but it's a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman's a cartoon character. I'm going to say it. When did Gary Oldman get this shit? He's awful.
Yeah, he's not good in it, is he?
No, but like, not just in this. It's been a growing thing that he's just crap now. You look back at it and go, I really miss like Gary Oldman from the mid-90s, where he was fascinating as a performer. Now he just, there's a bit in it where he shouts at her. And he pushes up against the wall and shouts at her. And the line delivery is just, you watch it going, oh, this is just, what? It's so over the top, but not in like a Nick Cage over the top. In a, wow, you think this is brilliant over the top. Amy Adams is frankly crap in it. I think Brian Tyree Henry and Wyatt Russell are the only two that can kind of come out of this with any level of dignity. The kid has a fucking weird energy.
I think he's meant to, though, isn't he?
But I think he's meant to, so I think he's okay. He was really fucking creepy. And then by the end of it, when you get the ending, it just got too much of him just running around going, ah!
I mean, that ending up on that rooftop with the rain swirling around all over the place and the score just like really going for it. If the whole film was at that kind of camp energy, at least it would be like, okay, I can see what you're going for.
Yeah, but the other bit there is literally you have a call to the window earlier for no reason. And Wyatt Russell goes up to it and is like, oh, you want to get that fixed? You got mold up there. I've got to have a look at it.
And you're like, oh, is that going to come back, maybe?
Like, yeah, I wonder when that will come back.
There is one shot in it I quite liked, though. One.
Which one?
The one where she's kind of, where the police officer's like, I'm really sorry, but your whole family is dead. That lady.
Yeah.
And she's remembering it happening, and then it pans to her face on, and then it pans away from her, and it's got like the doors open and the car on its roof in the background. That's quite a nice shot. I was like, oh, little bit of skill in the middle of all this shite. Amazing.
I was listening. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about this, and they said like it was almost like Joe Wright had that shot in his head and was like, right, how can I put that in a film, and then worked from there.
Yeah, you could do, because it's a really nice shot. However, it lingers on it for way too long. It literally, like Ian was saying earlier on with the Hitchcock thing, it literally goes, look at it! Keep looking at it! She's going to talk, but I'm going to show you this. And it's there for 5 minutes, and you're going,
Seen it.
Yeah, it's done now. It's done now. You don't need to then go into the shot. Once she goes into the shot, it loses its energy.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And Again, I said to you when we were watching it back, I was like, right, this is based on a book, isn't it? And you're like, yeah. I was like, right. So it's not based on a play, because I was aware that Tracy Letts had written it, and he's a playwright by trade.
Yeah.
But it feels like a play. So the way maybe it's the way he's written it. It feels quite stagey.
Yeah, I think that's exacerbated as well though by Gary Oldman's performance. Yeah, it's like he's decided I'm a thespian. I'm going to do everything this way now.
Yeah, and it is. There's that element to it, and there's the fact that it's all staged within that house there. But you never really got the thing is, and
the beauty though often of having like a single location movie is the claustrophobia that it brings, and this has none of that. It doesn't build any tension.
Because
she's stuck in a fucking lovely 4-story house.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Julianne Moore references and says, doesn't she?
Like, fuck, she said that.
Yeah. Oh, I know she's so terrible with this. But the thing is there, if you have a one location thing that is something like that, what you have to do, so The Father is a great example of this, right? What you then realistically, as a filmmaker, have to do is make the location a character.
Yeah.
And that location is not a character at all. It is literally a place.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And
it's too big and airy as well.
None of it feels connected. You don't feel like it's always in the same place.
Yeah. Can I just point out as well? Right, if David's supposed to be her tenant,
yes.
Why does she have such easy access to where he lives? Like, that's not how tenancies work.
He lives in the basement.
Yeah.
She's got a little hook latch.
But that doesn't give him any security, does it?
She's got a hook latch.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
On her side. Yeah. This is the point I'm making.
I know. Just saying.
That's not how tenancies work.
David should feel safe because the hook latch.
He should have a hook latch on his side.
Maybe he doesn't have a hook latch. Maybe he's got a bigger hook latch.
He should have an actual real key.
Yes, it fucking should, Becky. Right? But I don't think parole hopping David cares that much.
You leave David alone. He's just trying to live his life. It was just a bar fight, Mark.
I think David's lying there for a start. David just wants to fuck.
Yeah, he does, yeah. Not Amy Adams, though. Like,
you did think that moment, that there was a moment where at one point you thought, is he going to try and fuck Amy Adams?
Yeah, but then I think he looked at her.
Anyway. Are we kind of wrapping up now on this?
Can we, please?
Yes. So...
not because we're going long. I just don't ever want to fucking have to think about it again until we get to the year-end show.
So, where are you with it, Bex? On our scale, which is this week for this one is definitely not poop, possibly poop, or Geostorm poop, but good.
It's poop, isn't it?
It's poop.
I hate to say it because I'm not keen on the baby talk, but yeah, if that's the scale.
Yeah. Ian, I think we already know your poop.
It's a film where I can honestly say if this is what passes as like mid-budget adult thriller stuff now, the cinema is fucked. I've got this whole cinema is dying like thesis going on which has developed over the last year, and The Woman in the Window is 100% evidence of that. They need to stop doing that. Stop it.
I think it's odd, just to point out that we went from watching Doomsday last week, which very lovingly and artfully references the films that it's referencing and does it in a really skilled way, to this, which is just like, I'm going to make like a modern day Rear Window. It's going to be fucking amazing.
No,
but it's shit.
What it is Joe Wright doesn't make movies. He makes movies that are trying to win awards.
And exactly that. There already was a modern day Rear Window, and that film was Disturbia.
And it was better than Woman in the Window.
It was better than The Woman in the Window.
Yeah. Our audience poll, definitely not poop, 17%, possibly poop, 25%, poop, 42%, and Geostorm poop, but good, 16%.
A wide range.
It's a wide range, yes.
You like the 1980s, don't you? Of course you do. We all do. But have you ever wondered why that decade was the way it was? Have you ever wished there was somewhere you could go to get past the usual day-glow sentimentality? To try and understand 1980s pop culture in a more social, political and historical context? Because if so, it sounds to me like you're ready to go beyond the aesthetics, beyond the nostalgia. Welcome to Beyond the Neon. Beyond the Neon is the podcast that dares to pull over the Testarossa, eject the Wham cassette and take off the Wayfarers. If you're looking for retro reviews of Back to the Future, The Goonies or John Hughes movies, you will not find that here. If you're looking for top 10 lists of A-Team episodes, Nintendo games or Stranger Things references, you will not find that here. If you're looking for long boring introductions, Squarespace ads or Patreon begging, you will not find that here. Because Beyond the Neon, we do things a little differently. In each documentary-style episode, I look at one area of 1980s popular culture and break it right down. And each episode features academic insight, guest contributions and interviews, as well as clips plumbed from the depths of the 1980s cultural void. Well, YouTube, mainly YouTube. To help illustrate the wonderful, perplexing, terrifying, joyous and utterly thrilling world of 1980s pop culture. Beyond the Neon might not be as regular as other 1980s podcasts, but that's because Beyond the Neon isn't like other 1980s podcasts. Subscribe to the show today and check out all past episodes by visiting beyondtheneon.co.uk.
Have you ever wondered what so-called family films will scar your kids forever?
Putting 4 and 5-year-olds in front of this movie, it's like, if they didn't know what death was before this, they're going to know it after it.
They're going to know it after it, and they're going to be freaking terrified.
And they're going to be questioning you.
Yeah.
Or do you have the slight suspicion that your loved one has a cold, dead heart?
Yeah, the Dark Knight has got like all the orphans, and like, oh no, we're going to die. They did not build up those orphans at all. In my head, it was like, kill them.
Then look no further. The His Film Her Movie podcast is the show for you. It's the movie podcast that celebrates the contrasting cinematic tastes of its hosts. So join Jordan and Lauren every week on their unique journey through the land of the silver screen. So if you're looking for a few laughs, some fun film related chat, then get involved. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ian, what have you been watching?
Okay, so I've got a fucking shitload. Kind of wondering whether we break this up a bit, but I want to lead with something. Mark, have you looked on Letterboxd in the last 24 hours?
No.
Okay, good. I watched Your Christmas Present.
Fucking hell! When?
Last night.
Oh yes, it's a proper Saturday night movie.
Right. So I'll get to the film in a second. So Mark bought me a Blu-ray for Christmas, and I haven't watched it, and I'm so sorry. I've been meaning to fucking watch it for ages, and it was like right.
Oh, it's the type of movie you've got to be in the zone for.
Yeah, which I thankfully I was, and I didn't look it up at all going in. I just knew what the cast was. So it's a Warner Premium Collection Blu-ray. So it had some art cards in it, and it had the poster. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, so this Blu-ray is going to have some shit on it, is it? And it is the like, so the Warner like home video logo comes up, and then it's just a static screen of the title, an image, play, and subtitles off. Like it was like a really old school DVD menu. The film is Stephen Hopkins' Judgment Night. Yeah, I mean, this is big Mark energy, this fucking film, Jesus Christ. Not in an erotic thriller kind of way, but in the one crazy night with a cast of a very, very 90s cast. Yeah. And man, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. So for those who don't know, and I looked it up, the last time it was on terrestrial TV in the UK apparently was 2013 at like midnight at night on BBC One. So
which is a perfect time for that movie to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think it's on any streaming services or anything either. I was just kind of intrigued. So it is Emilio Estevez, his brother played by Stephen Dorff, their friend played by Cuba Gooding Jr., and the kind of like the guy who's like leading the night, played by Jeremy Piven. They're kind of like doing it up in style, and they're going to a boxing match. They try to shortcut to the match because otherwise they're going to miss like the main event, and they go through like a kind of a scuzzy area of town, and they run over a guy, but it turns out that the guy had previously been shot, and who's chasing him? Only Dennis Leary and the bad guy from The Mask, who's got one of the most striking faces in fucking Hollywood, by the name of Peter Green. And then it's basically these guys trying to get away from Dennis Leary and co. And I mean, that's it. Like really efficient like setup. Within about 20-25 minutes, you've established the character dynamics, and you're kind of off and away with the races. And yeah, it's this like very tense, but tension through dialogue more than like action sequences per se. I mean, like there's a bit where they have to kind of like cross a bridge between two buildings, which is pretty tense, but a lot of it is just, what are we gonna do? And Dennis Leary giving like his grade A Dennis Leary bad guy shit. Like just chef's kiss stuff.
There's some great Leary moments in this, isn't there?
Oh hell yeah! I mean, there is there's kind of an extended conversation that he has with Jeremy Piven, which is fun. I mean, it's
Piven's trying to get him $200,000.
Yeah. He's like offering him $100,000, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go for that. And then he kind of like amps up the, nah, I'm not going for that. Do you know what pisses me off about people like you? Blah. And then Jeremy Piven's just like 200,000, and he's just like, yeah, all right then. And then you think everything's chill again, and it's really not. It's great. But no, I mean, they established really early on that like Emilio Estevez is kind of like the one of the boys who grew up. He's got a wife, he's got a kid, but it seems like he was the wild one in the past, and like how that kind of like comes up. And Cuba Gooding Jr. just going more and more kind of like insane as the film goes on. Man, fair play. Like this, it was a very, very good choice, dude.
It's one of those films. It's just a fun watch.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
Yeah. Really... Yeah, I could see myself putting it on again at some point. Absolutely no problem.
It's the type of movie where you could watch it, maybe not when you're hammered, but like a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
And be like, you've got home, you've had a couple of drinks, you've been out on the night out, you've got home, you've got a couple of drinks, and then you go, I just have a couple more drinks. What should I want to watch? Ah, fuck it, I'm going to stick on Judgment Night.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I had a couple of strong rum and cokes with it last night. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Good time.
I'm very glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, thank you thank you, man. No, it was good. Really, really good. Okay, I suppose linking on Cuba Gooding Jr., first time watch of Boys in the Hood. So it's funny this. So last night after Judgment Night, I started watching Poetic Justice. I got about 40 minutes into it. I was like, I'm not really feeling this. I WhatsApped you guys, I think, and I was like, yeah, 40 minutes into Poetic Justice, just not really feeling it. And Mark made reference to the fact that we'd watched it before. I was like, we? And yes, we have covered Poetic Justice as a marathon watch, 2-pack marathon watch on this fucking podcast.
Yep.
Did not remember fucking any of it. Any of it. You know, and it's like, I could go through life like knowing that I've seen a certain film before, but not really necessarily knowing anything, like remembering anything about it. You would have put a gun to my head last night, and I would have been like, yeah, I've never seen Poetic Justice before. And I watched like the first third, didn't have a clue. But I don't think that'll ever be the case with Boys in the Hood.
No.
Youngest person to ever be directed for to be nominated for Best Director at the Oscars. Frankly, I don't think that record will ever be beat. The fucking guy was 24. How does that happen?
It's crazy, isn't it?
But the thing is, you watch it, and it's like this guy who is just cine literate as fuck, but obviously also really knows the material that he's depicting. You know, it's interesting because, you know, they say that cinema is becoming the from a jobs point of view is becoming the world of the middle classes. You know, like it even though the equipment to make a film and whatnot has never been cheaper, the sheer actually like getting your start, getting a foot in the door, essentially.
Life has never been more expensive though.
Yeah, no, exactly. And there is a massive the bank of mum and dad aspect of getting into that industry, and it's obviously something that really should be looked at, but it kind of feels like, you know, the lack of focus of the arts in education generally is becoming more and more of a thing, you know, and it feels like that's a fight that we're in danger of losing. But and also, quite frankly, as I think I've said before, I think a lot of kids these days not particularly bothered by films. They want to do other things. A lot of kids want to be YouTubers. You know, I mean that's you know, culture like moves on and things morph and whatnot. Anyway, Boys in the Hood. Ice Cube, fucking brilliant. I loved that he was like the more of the hothead, but he wasn't necessarily the one who was going around picking the fight constantly. You know, the film's smarter than that. Cuba Gooding Jr., not great. I think he is the weak link of this film out of all of the links. It doesn't. He himself doesn't feel lived in with this. I
agree with that. Yeah.
But Morris Chestnut is fucking brilliant. You know, it's the rising tide raises all ships. You know, and I think Cuba Gooding Jr. is the ship that needed raising. It was fucking Lawrence Fishburne as well, man. Like him playing that role, being that age, and kind of just getting away with it. It's like, yeah, all right, fine. He had his kid young, but not all 17-year-old dads are deadbeats. You know, some are people who just had a kid at 17 and have to like get through life, you know, and want to do their best for their. That's the thing. It was like when the plot started off with the kids being disruptive at school, the mum ships him off to the dad. I had it in my head that the dad was going to be like a nasty piece of work or something like that. And no, he's not. He's a really caring dad. You know, it tripped me up. And I think that maybe says more about me than it does the film, quite frankly.
No, I think the film, it's almost the cleverness of John Singleton at that time. I think he sets you up to think that. And then very quickly makes you go, no. And you go, oh, okay. And then it also keeps you on your toes thinking, right, what's going to change? Is there going to be a change point? And there isn't.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, quite. I unsurprisingly, Boys in the Hood, good film. Who knew? And then
what I would say though is that there is like a little kind of like tranche of these sort of heavily rap influenced and American black culture films from sort of like the very late 80s up to sort of the mid 90s, where they were a hot property. And the thing is, you've got, I mean, Boys was quite a biggie, but then you've also got a lot of the Spike Lee ones and things like that. There are a lot that kind of float around those movies that maybe if you weren't sort of around at the time, or they were available at the time, then it's quite conceivable that you could quite easily have just moved past them, and they don't tend to get referenced enough. Like people hardly ever talk about Menace to Society or Dead Presidents anymore, and they're both fantastic. Or the Samuel Jackson movie Fresh is brilliant, but you can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, it's the whole media has become like certain things are becoming harder and harder to find. It's interesting. I know a lot of people criticize Netflix about not having much black and white or before the 70s, but it does kind of feel like just like there are certain 90s films that are pretty fucking hard to get hold of these days. And that, you know, that feels like that's only going to get worse and worse. So just linking on from the Boys in the Hood, I'll do a couple more and I'll switch over to you guys and then back to me later because I realise I've been talking quite a lot. Watched the first two Fast and Furious films. Obviously, Too Fast, Too Furious, directed by John Singleton. But yeah, the Fast and the Furious. I mean, I still like it. I think it's good. It's good, silly fun. Is the Fast and the Furious.
It's one of those where every time I watch it, I am more reminded about the fact that it is basically such a Point Break ripoff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But it's fascinating as well. Like because when you watch it with the later films, this film, there's this one sequence where like Vin Diesel's just like, fuck the team. You know, like fuck all the people around me and whatnot. And now it's all about family.
Yeah.
You know, the whole kind of like I live my life a quarter mile at a time. It kind of feels like that is maybe ebbing away a little bit now as well. You know, he's going to have a kid in this one. It's like, what's going to happen there? I think that's interesting. But also, I mean, I mentioned this to you on WhatsApp, but the fact that there is a scene early on in this film where Paul Walker has his back turned to Matt Schultz, and Matt Schultz comes up behind him, and the song on the soundtrack is literally going, "Watch your back, watch your back, watch your back." It's fucking.
Yeah, it's very on the nose, isn't it?
I mean, honestly, the fucking music cues in this film are insane. I mean, the film's 20 years old, you know, so it kind of is what it is. But oh man. So yeah, Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. I think I liked it more than I remembered liking it, to be honest. There's
a moment in this film, in Too Fast, Too Furious, where every time my brain goes, "Why is he?" and then it's quicker about it. Oh, that's why he's done it. But it's where he takes his shirt off to break the window. I'm like, why is he taking his shirt? Oh, it's to break the window. Fair enough.
I 100% thought exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Like no, but then it's like, okay, no, that makes complete sense. No, I mean, it's I really like Walker and Tyrese together. I think they've got really, really good chemistry, and they seem to make it more about him and Ludacris in the later ones. And they don't interact too much in this one. I mean, the plot is very fucking standard issue. Okay, we're gonna do run in for this dodgy guy. All right, fair enough. But I think there are individual bits that stand out. Like there's a scene with Mark Boone Jr. where he's tortured with a fucking rat on his stomach, which is memorable.
Yes.
You know, like that's some. I mean, that's a great low key way of going. Cole Hauser is a fucking threat.
Beyond just Cole Hauser's general aura.
Yeah, But I also like how later on Mark Boone Jr. comes back into it, and he's like umming and ahhing about like, does he try and like stop what's going on? And he actually does. He actually like tries to do his job, which I thought was a nice subversion of the Mark Boone Jr. character, because, you know, in Memento he's a bit shifty. In Batman Begins he's basically Detective Shifterson, you know. And I like that. Yeah, I liked it. I definitely liked it more than I remembered. Too Fast, Too Furious. So I'll pause there and I'll throw it over to you guys.
Bex, have you watched anything solo?
Um,
Because I've not.
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
So I watched In Time.
All right, yeah.
So I remember being quite cool on In Time when we first watched it. I really enjoyed it on this rewatch. I think it's got a lot to say about like
Time?
well, like capitalism and like general stuff about the economy, but it does it in like a really fun way. Did I watch it? Yeah, I watched this one on my own. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot more than I remembered, and I enjoyed Amanda Seyfried in it a lot more as well. I think I was getting mixed up with her character in this and Anon.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've got very similar hair.
Fair enough.
But no, really enjoyed it actually. I think Justin Timberlake, when he puts his mind to it, he's a really good actor.
Yeah, I think he can be quite a good actor. I just wish he'd pick a lane.
He does need to pick a lane. But yeah, really enjoyed In Time. Like I say, I think it's got some interesting stuff to say on capitalist societies and how damaging they can be, and how they keep the people that they want down.
Remind me the premise of it again. You get like you have to earn time to live, don't you, or something like that?
Yeah, so you basically you live your life normally until you're 25 years old, and then you stay 25 forever until you run out of time. So when you turn 25, you've got a year of time stored.
Yeah.
But then you can earn more, but everything costs time. So like a cup of coffee costs 10 minutes, or a bus ride costs an hour, and stuff like that. And then when you work, obviously you get paid in time, and it gets loaded onto your clock. And then Justin Timberlake meets a guy in his bar, in a bar, from New Greenwich, which is the really rich part where everyone's got loads of time, and this guy's got 116 years on his clock, and he's like flashing it, and you know, because it shows up as like a digital thing on your arm. And he's making no effort to hide it. And then the Minutemen, who are like gangstery thug type guys, basically, ruffians, come to basically try and rough him up and steal his time. And you can steal time off people. Like it's like arm wrestling, but whoever has their arm on top can take time from the person on bottom. So right. It's like that.
Like picking a photo you used to be able to do with the phone where you tapped it.
Yeah. So they come to try and do that, and then Justin Timberlake like rescues him, and they run away and blah blah blah. And then he's like, "Oh, we'll stay here in this abandoned warehouse overnight, and then I'll get you somewhere safe." And the guy in the night gives him all his time, with the exception of like 5 minutes, and then goes out and sits on a bridge and times out and falls into the water, because he's been alive for such a long time that he's so rich that he's basically immortal, and he's just bored of it. Like I think you get to a natural end, don't you, is what he's trying to say. And then from speaking to this guy, he kind of learns that the people in New Greenwich are basically hoarding time. There's plenty to go around. Nobody needs to die unnecessarily and before their time. Whereas the people that he works with day to day are like living day to day and rarely have more than a few hours on their clocks. And then there's people with like 1 million years in the bank. So he basically... And his dad, basically Justin Timberlake's dad, as far as Justin Timberlake.
Ned Timberlake.
Hey?
Ned Timberlake.
far as he's concerned, he died betting, doing the hammer thing. But he didn't. He was killed because he was essentially trying to be like a Robin Hood type character and take time from the rich and distribute it. Take one rich person, distribute it to many poor people. And so, anyway, Justin Timberlake's got all his time. He makes his way all the way over to New Greenwich, sees all the differences and stuff like that. Wins loads of time off of. Hang on, what's his name?
Don't know.
In time.
Clive Owen.
Not Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy's like a cop. I can't remember the actor's name. Anyway, Amanda Seyfried.
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, let's go with that. Amanda Seyfried's dad, basically, and he wins it in a bet, and then gets invited to a party, and then kind of when the Cillian Murphy cop people turn up to arrest him, they take all his time off him and deport him from New Greenwich, and he kind of kidnaps sort of Amanda Seyfried, and then once he educates her about what's going on, they sort of go on like a Robin Hood kind of spree.
Cool.
Stealing time from the banks and then like sending it to the mission, which is where like it's like a food mission would be now.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's really well done actually. More intelligent than I remembered. And then the other one that I watched, not on my own but with Isabel, was Things Heard and Seen.
Oh yeah,
Netflix one.
A bit of a Seyfried film.
Yeah. It's an odd one. Isabel's sum up of it after we watched it was, so basically it's Amityville but not as good. I was like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a malevolent energy in the house, which takes over the people that move in, and then the husband character acts out what he acts out, and the woman who moves in sort of sees the spirits of the previous women that have been victimised in the house.
Fucking, it's over 2 hours long.
It's long, yeah, it's lengthy.
Jesus, it's balls.
Yeah. James Norton's character is a grade A fucking cunt in this film. He's so easily hateable.
He's not usually.
He is in this. He's a real dick.
Anything else?
No, that's it on my own.
Do you want to fire back to you again? Then we ain't got that minute to watch together, have we?
Mm-mm. No.
Oh, you sure? Okay.
Yeah. We've only got a couple, and a couple of them will be very much like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll pick up on the on the Amanda Seyfried. So I watched the Amanda Seyfried starring along with Kevin Bacon. You Should Have Left.
Oh yeah, that was. What was that on?
It's on Now TV.
That's what I saw it on. Yeah.
So I watched this randomly. Like, just started watching this afternoon, and I ended up watching the whole fucking thing. So it's written for the screen and directed by David Koepp. It's Kevin Bacon, Amanda Seyfried, and their kid, who is great. Really, really good kid actor performance from this girl, Avery Essex. She's really, really good, actually. So basically, story is Bacon and Seyfried are a married couple with a kid. She's an actress. He is a former banker who, it's kind of said earlier on, people don't like him because of a transgression in his life previously. And people recognise him for it. They decide to go away before she has to start shooting a film, and they pick a property in Wales. So they go to Wales, and immediately this kind of regional folk music comes up on the score, and it's a bit nah.
Yeah. Like when anyone goes to Ireland, it has to be. Yeah. Scotland's the same.
And it's
any
like
Celtic place.
Yeah.
Yeah. The local village, the people there are a little bit off. And Welsh. There is an amazing bit where a shopkeeper says something to Kevin Bacon, and Kevin Bacon says, "I don't speak Welsh," and he was like, "I was talking in English." Like it's odd. There are a few little bits here which are genuinely funny. But so they move to this house, and there's something just odd about this house. The kind of like the design of it just doesn't quite add up. And I'll leave it there for the plot. So on Now TV, this had an average rating of 1.5 stars out of 5, and like the kind of like the few reviews I'd seen when it came out on VOD last year were like, yeah, it's not great. I maybe low expectations. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think it's amazing, but it didn't go in directions that I thought it was going to. It went in a couple of directions where I was like, oh, that's actually pretty fucking interesting. And the last third or so turns into a two-hander, basically, which I really enjoyed. End revelation isn't particularly shocking, but I enjoyed the journey to that point. I think it probably deserved a bit more. That's actually kind of an interesting bit of work than it actually got.
Well, I actually quite like David Kemp as a director. I know he's more famed as a film writer than he is a director.
Yeah.
But I've actually really quite enjoyed the stuff that he's done as a director. So, like Stir of Echoes, we both really like, don't we? Secret Window, I think is more fun than it has any right to be. Ghost Town was a bit shit, but Premium Rush is fucking brilliant.
Is that the bike cruise?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mordecai is an acquired taste.
I think that's being generous for Mordecai.
Yeah. Yeah, I 89 minutes, gets in, gets out. I thought it was all right. Okay, I also watched Oxygen. So this is the new film from Alexandra Aja, which is on Netflix now. So it's shot during the pandemic thing, and it's basically Melanie Laurent wakes up in like some sort of capsule. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And she's told very early on by a kind of like AI, your oxygen's running out. Film, go. Enjoyed it, actually. Again, like just stuck it on this morning. And Donna just kind of like sat down as the titles were rolling, and she was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I kind of explained. We ended up watching the whole thing, and it worked well. It's very tense. It's got some good twists and turns. The AI that she talks to is fucking brilliant. It is essentially what if Siri or the Google Assistant was like your only form of communication. But it's like it doesn't necessarily have much in the way of machine learning or anything. It's basically Melanie Laurent is asking it questions and it's providing information, but it's not then providing like extra information to help her out. And it's not in like a malevolent way. It's just
it doesn't know.
It doesn't know. It is keeping things factual, and she's having to do all the working out by asking it questions. And I really like that.
She's asking the wrong questions, so it can't tell her kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Or it doesn't tell her things that would have been useful earlier on to know, because she didn't know to ask it those things at the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's, I really like the writing is really sharp in that way. And that really struck out to me, and it leads to some like good, solid kind of like comedic like relief moments as well. Just in that. Yeah, I liked it, man. Wish I could have seen it on a big screen. You know, it would have worked. Despite the fact that it's in this capsule, there are these two shots that are fucking awesome. In particular, but I mean, it's a good looking film generally. Yeah, I had a really good time with it actually. Like I say, it's on Netflix. It's not going to cost you any extra. Really good hour and a half. Yeah, I think you guys would get a kick out of it. It sounds like a good one to watch with Izzy as well. Actually, I get that vibe. That's the kind of thing that you guys would enjoy together. So yeah, how about it?
Do that.
Finally, nice. Yeah, I'd look forward to hearing what you think. And finally, finished my Saw rewatch. So, where to the point that I watched 4 of them in 2 days last week. Which is really fucking weird. So yeah, Saw 5 and Saw 6. It's fascinating because Saw 5 is the worst one of the series up to that point, but it's still got enough soap opera stuff that I just enjoy it, because it's basically the new Jigsaw killer is a cop. This other guy is kind of onto him. So then it's him basically trying to cover shit up so that the other guy doesn't get him. But then there's also a random game going on. The game is very, very disconnected to what is actually going on in kind of like the A plot here. They don't really tie together. But I enjoy the soap opera-y kind of stuff. And I will also say as well, there's been a thing going around on Twitter this week where somebody was like, how dumb is this scene transition? And it's a transition from one of the Saw films, where I was saying last week about how it's like, it will, like a scene transition will be, it'll end in one place and then suddenly you'll be in a different place.
Yeah.
It was that, but like a really clever one. They do some interesting shit there. Not so much with these ones. Boozman dropped off after Saw 4. But yeah, Saw 5, okay. Saw 6, absolute banger. It is a dissection of the American healthcare system and how people in that industry are only there to make money, and how they are all basically corrupt and trying to basically scratch each other's backs instead of trying to help the person in question. It's great. Saw 6, good time. Also, decent twisty stuff as well going on in it. Then Saw 7, the final chapter, starts off, holy shit, it's a Saw game basically being played out with a public audience. That's interesting. Guess what? It's about the only interesting thing in the entire film.
Is that the one that opens up with the body being hung on the overpass while she's going for a run?
No, that's Jigsaw.
Right.
No, this one starts off. It's actually a pretty great start. Best scene in the film by a fucking mile. These two guys wake up and they've just got this like saw blade between the circular saw blade between them. And then like up on the ceiling is a girl who they've both been shagging. And it's basically like you guys, either one of you has to kill the other, or you both agree to kill her. And it's played out with like this like all like they're in this kind of almost like this fucking David Blaine-esque glass box. Like, and like all these people are just like watching it. But that it never really comes up again as to why that game's being played out in that way, because then the main game is just again somebody running around a warehouse or whatever the fuck, you know. Looks fucking awful. Shot for 3D.
Shot for 3D, wasn't it? Yeah.
So what they've basically done is, hey, with 3D there's like 30% light loss. Yeah, just make everything 30% brighter. It's so blown out. It looks so cheap. It is like watching a Canadian police procedural TV series from the noughties.
I think that's because was it My Bloody Valentine 3D was all set like in a cave, and it was that dark that people were like, you can't see what's going on. So when Saw did their 3D one, they just literally just did that. They literally just went, right, let's just make it really bright.
Yeah, and it doesn't help as well. And I've been kind of like watching YouTube stuff afterwards about the films, and there had been this fan theory for fucking ages that Cary Elwes' character was going to be back in it, and he's going to be revealed as like the mastermind and whatnot. And spoiler alert, he's in this one, and his first scene is basically him going, I am the new Jigsaw killer. Look how shifty I'm being. Clap, 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 clap. It is awful. Like, he obviously gives zero fucks about the material, whether it be in the first one or in this one. It is 100% cashing in a paycheck, and he is fucking awful. But the thing is, he's hamming it up in a series where the performances weren't knowingly hammy. They're just kind of soap opera-y, but they're taking it seriously. Here, he's so overblown. It kills it. Really kills it. And I mean, like, even the guy, Sean Patrick Flannery is like the main contestant in the Saw game here. And he plays a survivor of Jigsaw who has become a self-help guru, but he made it all up. And that's interesting. But they do nothing with it. Aside from one really fucking gnarly burn death late on, which you do feel for his character in that case. He's not the one who gets burned up, but yeah, you feel for his character. So, yeah, really, the original Saw cycle really ended on a low there. And then in 2017, you had Jigsaw, which is the one where it's like the person who's like strung up. Which, again, really tries to retcon the franchise. I forgot Tobin Bell was in this one. And it's like years later, some bodies are turning up, and there's a game being played, and there's a medical examiner and his assistant. His assistant kind of basically has a kink for saw traps. She like collects them, and there's kind of like not great. And there's a detective who kind of like pushes things over the line, blah blah blah. And yeah, it's just the most middling. Like, if you're gonna bring Saw back, I'm a little bit worried about this with Spiral, but if you're gonna bring Saw back, why are you just gonna put in minimum effort? Which is what Jigsaw is. It really is. What do people like about these films? Okay, traps, yeah. There's going to be some twists that twist around the timeline of the original films. Yeah, all right, then fine. And it just minimum effort, 3 out of 5. Some of the traps are decent. It's not as bad. It's not nearly as bad as Saw 7 because it looks like a film. That's basically what I'm there with. Spiral. The reviews have been, some people have liked it, some people really haven't. I'm still fucking fascinated to see what the fuck Chris Rock and Max Minghella are doing in a Saw, and Samuel L. Jackson are doing in a Saw adjacent film. Really looking forward to it. But yeah, there you go. My rewatch of the Saw films, I like them more than I remembered, but those last two really are not great ways to, Saw 7 and Jigsaw, not great ways to kind of end things on there. We'll talk about.
For our rewatch.
I rewatch the Saw movies.
Yeah.
Honestly, Saws 1 to 4, like perfectly fucking solid time. Saw 5 gets by on how much you like Saws 1 to 4, and then Saw 6, low key banger. It's really, honestly, out of those original ones, the only one I can say is truly actually shit is the last one. And if you'd asked me a couple weeks back, what do you think of the Saw films? I don't think I would have been that kind to them.
Yeah, you weren't keen for continuing after the first one, were you?
No, I really wasn't, but the fucking soap opera dragged me in. Like the fucking about with the continuity in those original ones. It's fucking incredible, because it's like you're watching it, it's like, right, so that person was doing that all along, and it's like, okay, that actually kind of makes sense. What? There's stuff that, like, there's a random scene, I think it is in Saw 5, where Jigsaw's wife posts something through someone's post box, and then that is paid off 2 films later. It's fucking great. I mean, the confidence to go, look, we're going to have a random 30 seconds here. At this time, we don't really know what we're doing with this, but hey, we've set something up. You know, I love that fucking chutzpah. Yeah, intriguing to see what you guys think of them, to be fair. But yeah, that is me.
Right, what else have we watched, Bex?
Okay, so for my birthday film, we watched The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
We did indeed.
And we all watched it together, and we ate yummy food, and it was a really good time.
It was a good time. It's a good film. It kind of feels like it was already a little bit out of step when it was released anyway.
Why? What do you mean?
I don't think you could release this film now.
Possibly not, no.
No. The problem is, now, you can't have horny teenagers being horny teenagers. Because you're judging the actions of the characters, even though the film is technically judging the acts of the characters.
Yeah, I mean,
the characters are acting as they would act.
That bit with the police lady's boobies is a bit inappropriate, isn't it?
It is a bit totes inappropriate, but it's kind of fun in the way it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, we're not supposed to find things fun anymore.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I get it in a way, but it's like it's not. The film's not showing you these things and going, this is an appropriate way to act. It's showing it and going, this is what a scrawny little teenager would probably fucking do in this scenario, and it kind of is.
Yeah, it's cool what Christopher London went on to do. You can see that there's definitely that in him to go along and do and make like really good movies within the genre.
What else has he done?
He's the Happy Death Day.
Is he the Happy Death Day man?
Yeah. As predicted, we watched Armageddon, didn't we?
Sweet.
It's Armageddon-y, isn't it?
It is.
It's very long, isn't it? It's like 2.5 hours long. You could basically cut out the whole Ben Affleck is dating his daughter subplot out of the entire movie, and you wouldn't fucking notice a difference.
I mean, you could, but I think it gives the film some of its quite sweet moments. Like, it's cheesy as fuck, and it's not a great film, but it's still a good watch, and it does what it's intending to do, which is be a tearjerkery disaster movie about the end of the world with Bruce Willis.
It's an awful lot of fun. However, what I will say is, it's all of the things you just described. However, it does have genuinely one of the great underrated movie performances of, I would say, possibly of around that era.
Go on.
Billy Bob Thornton in it as essentially the de facto head of NASA operations.
Yeah.
Is really, really good in it. It's not just like it's good for this type of movie. It's a genuinely great performance that he is the good guy who has the good ideas and is trying to execute it all and hold everything together. And he's always like the adult in the room.
Yeah.
It's a really, really great performance from an actor who can be fantastic and can be shit sometimes as well.
Then you've got Bruce Willis is kind of in that category as well, in that he can be fantastic or he can just fucking phone it in. And he's great in it.
He was still trying at this point. Yeah, he was definitely still trying at this point.
Ben Affleck at possibly his handsomest era.
Possibly, yes.
That jawline. What the fuck? Where's that gone?
Leave him alone.
Man's going through shit. Well, now he's hooked up with Jennifer Lopez again now, aren't they?
That man fucking falls upwards every time.
Do you know what? Ben Affleck fucks.
I mean, he clearly does.
Yeah.
Love it.
Based on the ones that he's fucked, he clearly can.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, Lo, if they just got together and they're just together for the next 40 years?
Do you know what's great?
I'd love it for him.
Do you know what's brilliant about it? Yeah, I genuinely would as well.
Yeah.
Because he takes an awful lot of shit, and it wouldn't seem like he's actually a bad guy.
No.
There's nothing ever come out about him that makes him out to be like he's a wrong-un or anything like that. People just like to not like Ben Affleck for some reason. Possibly because he's had all these things that they want. Like Jennifer Lopez. But he's like, for years, like the world has kind of been trying to will back together Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. Right? And it's not happened, and it's probably never going to happen. But then the universe just went, do you know what you need right now? What? Bennifer. That's what you fucking need right now. And it's almost like, do you know what? The one thing we don't need is fucking Bennifer. But we'll fucking take it. Give us fucking Jiggly Part 2 as well while you're at it, you pricks.
Nice.
Jiggly's nowhere near as bad as people say it is. It's just not. It's just not. It's fine.
Like Jiggly 2 is not the film we need right now.
I disagree. I think it is I want Martin Brest back, and I want him to direct Jiggly 2, and I want it to win all of the fucking awards. But yeah, Armageddon. It's fun. Yeah. It's really fun.
It's a perfectly serviceable disaster movie.
We rewatched Rambo First Blood Part 2, didn't we?
We did.
The reason why we rewatched it, one, it's fucking great. And two, because I will be chatting on the Iron sequel with it. We didn't get to record the episode because of things.
Don't give too much away now then.
So I'm not going to give too much away. Because I spoke, but we had actually reviewed it on this movie as well when we did a George Peaker's Masters marathon. But what did you think, Becky?
It's one of those ones. Rambo, sorry.
Be very fucking careful.
Glitched there for a second. The Rambo series, it's one of those where I could, if you said to me what happens in Rambo 2, like prior to obviously watching this, I wouldn't be able to fucking tell you. But when I watch it, I'm like, oh, it's this one. Because like there's quite a few, and like remembering what happens in which is, I just remember the bow and arrow in is it 4? But he's got his bow and arrow in this one.
Yeah, he does.
His bow and arrow is fucking great.
His bow and arrow is tight.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's.
Do you want to know a fact?
Go on.
That it's a proper bow and arrow that he's using. But what they had to do is they had to attach a wire onto it every time he fired an arrow so they didn't go straight and hit somebody.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fair play. I would agree with you in that I think the very brief, before she dies, very brief love interest bit could have done without that.
Yeah.
I don't really like the way that she's kind of, it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, her stilted English. It feels a bit like,
her broken English, yeah.
Yeah, is that a bit, like, insensitive there? Like, I don't think it's meaning to be.
No, it's not meaning to be, but nowadays it might look like that. But it's definitely not meaning to be.
No. But it's like, yeah, it could have done without that.
Yeah.
But the story itself is great. The bits like bipping around in the concentration camp and stuff like that. It's all very high stakes.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a very different movie to First Blood though.
Oh yeah, without question, yeah. And then they get more different as they go along.
Yes, and he doesn't have a bow and arrow in First Blood.
No, he don't.
Got a knife.
He's got a knife.
And a poncho.
Yeah, a bit of tar he found.
And he's got a sewing kit in his knife.
And he's still got
Has he?
Yeah, still got the. It's the only there's only one. They want like a what is it? It was one.
Yeah.
That
Did he
was
actually
used.
make it out of an actual tap?
Yeah, he literally did. He wasn't supposed to wear it. It's just he wasn't supposed to have that in First Blood. It's just Stallone said when they shot that scene, he goes over and he literally just saw it as part of the scene that was set up there, and he cut it and went over and Ted Kotcheff was like, what are you doing? He went, this guy's, it's cold. This guy's going to find anything he can to make sure that he's warm if he's just got a vest on. And they're like, yeah, it makes fucking perfect sense actually. Yeah. And but he's still got that the tarp that he used for it. Stallone's still got it in like his sort of prop memorabilia storage he's got.
Yeah, but I guess like at the time, obviously it came out long time ago. Yeah. But if you watch First Blood and then First Blood Part 2 comes out and you're like, oh yeah, another introspective movie about like post-traumatic stress disorder and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch that. This ain't that.
It's not that.
No,
it's not. It very much hones in on the action, the brief action scenes towards the end of the rampage kind of idea of First Blood. Yeah. And then number 3 just takes it fucking further.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's only so many films. You can't make a full film series that are introspective movies about PTSD.
No.
So it had to go in a different direction.
We also watched Starship Troopers.
We did.
Nice.
It still holds up as being a very fun and very satirical movie, but I love the fact that it never actually moralizes itself. It never corrects itself. It continues to be.
Yeah, the bad guys don't get their comeuppance.
No.
It just carries on.
Yeah, it just carries on.
It's just showing you that.
The characters don't get told about the fact that they're in a satirical movie.
No.
It ends and you go, that's such a fuck you. Well played. Yeah. Well played, fucking Verhoeven.
And it just kind of ends, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's, like I said, there's no comeuppance, there's no ending because life just carries on as it always has. So the film just kind of similarly just ends. Oh, it always feels so much better when we're all together. Close scene.
Yeah.
And it's done.
Yeah. It's a really odd. It also looks like shit, but it's supposed to look like shit.
The bugs look like shit.
The bugs look like shit. It looks like shit. It's a shitty looking movie.
The one big bug with the butthole for a mouth is like, yeah, could have lived without that.
Yeah, the brain bug.
Yeah, but it's actually shaped like a butt.
Like a butt.
Yeah.
Yep. The butt brain.
Big old butt.
Yep. The fact
big old butt. Sorry.
The fact that none of the cast are very good. Like not a single one of them is good. When fucking
Boosie's amazing.
Dina Meyer is probably the best performance in your entire movie. You should fucking worry.
She is good in it.
Yeah. How Neil Patrick Harris managed to continue having a career after this, I don't know. And I kind of he's appalling in it.
I don't think he's that bad in comparison to everyone else.
I disagree. He makes Kathy Van Dien look good.
Jay Boosie's in it.
Jay Boosie is. Yeah, he's got some. He hasn't quite got his dad's energy, but
he's got some fucking energy to him though.
But he's got a face.
He does have a face.
Yeah, he does. He looks like Jay Boosie looks like a caricature of his dad, and that is terrifying.
Yeah.
I just want to agree that Jake Busey has a face.
And we watched Twister, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Oh.
Bill Paxton, yeah. Twister, a movie about people who chase tornadoes, right, to film them and to study them, etc., and then constantly seem shocked about how near they are to tornadoes.
Yeah, with their badly designed machine.
Yeah, we've designed this machine. It's going to go into a tornado. What is it? And then, but literally have no idea how to get it into the tornado. And it's just, how do you get it in there? Oh, well, you just kind of put it in the tornado's path.
And it'll
pick it up. And then they constantly get near a tornado and go, oh, it doesn't work.
Oh no, we're in the path of a tornado. Like, you literally put yourself there.
We don't have time for this. Like, what did you think it'd stop and go? Just while you set up, yeah. Now I'll go forward.
Can I just confirm?
What?
Because for me, the reason that I started wanting to watch Twister again was this, but just for yourself, did you start wanting to watch Twister again after we watched that cooking video about the steak, mash, and gravy?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Little bit.
There's a YouTube guy that we watch, and he makes like movie and TV food, and he did the steak and mash from Twister, and it was like, yeah, I want to see that steak in action.
Yep. Yeah.
In context.
We watched this. It's almost continuing our little theme that we've got going of early Philip Seymour Hoffman roles.
Yeah, he's good in this actually.
He's very good in this. Yeah.
I say that like I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that he's good in it, but he's obviously he's not in it much, but he does have an impact.
Yeah, and Helen Hunt just being the delight that she is.
She's fucking great as Helen Hunt.
Yeah, she is, isn't she? Yeah. But yeah, that's everything we've watched this week.
Your host, Mark.
I am indeed, yes. Questions, yes.
Do we have any?
We do. We've got a couple.
Wow.
Yeah, let me just find them.
Nice that you're organised.
Q. 3 questions.
Boom.
Sweet.
Cheers, Trucker. Mike from Cheers, Trucker Let's Punter. Trek or Wars? Or, he says, or long shot, Gate.
Wars. I feel like I need to. Mike doesn't send us questions often, so I kind of feel like I need to give it more. Trek. I really like the films, and I would like the TV shows if I had the mental capacity to engage with TV shows more than I do. Wars, yeah, it is Star Wars, and I like the starting to branch out with the Disney Plus stuff. I finally finished season 1 of The Mandalorian this week. Sorry. Sorry, I just had a message from Donna saying she was struggling to get Lottie to sleep, so I'm just gonna lower the volume. Which I really enjoyed. So yeah, I am Wars myself.
Thank you.
At this point, I'd probably say Wars, although there is Trek bits that I enjoy more than Star Wars. It's just there's so much of it. Like Star Wars, you've got 3 trilogies and then 2 offshoot movies.
Star Wars?
Yeah.
You've only got 3 trilogies now.
That's what I said.
And yeah, 2 offshoot movies, yeah.
Yeah.
So 11 movies.
So yeah, so you can get through 11 movies.
Yeah.
Star Trek, there's just so much to get your head round, and it bips around in time, and I really want to sit down and watch all of it, but there is just so fucking much of it. But I love Next Generation, and I love the movies like the Picard movies, and I really want to watch Picard. But it feels overwhelming to get into.
But I don't think you need to watch all of it.
No, you could probably skip like the what's his face stuff, couldn't you? Shatner.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I really like Star Trek. I just wish I was more familiar with it. And I like Stargate as well, but it's one that I'd need to consume more of the content. But what I've seen, I like.
I've seen Stargate the movie, haven't seen any of the TV show.
Stargate the movie is great, actually.
I like that, but because of that, I'm not a count that. I'm just a count Trek and what is it? I'd probably say I'm probably more Trek than I am Wars.
Yeah.
Because I'm only judging this on the movies. I am never going to watch the Star Trek TV series. It's never going to hit me because it's TV, and like you said, there's an awful lot of it. I'm not saying it's because it looks shit or anything like that. I think it's great that it's lasted as long as it is, and it has such a great fandom. But it's TV, so it's of little regard for me.
Which is the movie with the Borgs and the cube? Is it Nemesis?
Yes.
Fucking love that movie.
But I've always really enjoyed the Star Trek movies, and I never thought I would. I remember a friend of mine who's in Star Trek. I think it was when let me just have a quick look so I can get a timeline right for this. When one of them came out at the cinema, he insisted that we go and watch it. And I was very much like, I'm not really, it's not really my bag. So it'll have been something around, it'll have been, First Contact. And I actually really enjoyed it. I think he tried to get me to watch the TV series. I was like, I'm not enjoying that. That's really not my bag. But I did enjoy the movie, so I'm going to say Trek, because I enjoyed pretty much all movies I've got something out of. Whereas I've really liked, I've enjoyed watching the more recent ones, and I don't think there's any that I think I've only disliked a couple.
You're not particularly nostalgically attached
but
to the
I'm
original
not nostalgically
trilogy,
attached to them at all, so I don't care. I think to blame for that is when they were always on at Christmas, I really wasn't that interested in them. I was more interested in watching a Schwarzenegger or a Van Damme film or playing football.
See, I think my thing for the original trilogy, that and probably the Indiana Jones movies, comes from they were the only movies that I'd ever sit down and just watch with my dad, rather than us all sitting down as a family and watching them. So I think that's probably where the affection comes from. Yeah.
See, well, I don't have that.
No.
So Ethan Ember, Ethan Bassett 2 on the Twitter says, of all the digital / streaming releases in the last year or so, which would you choose to show now in reopening cinemas?
It's a fucking tricky question. This I was thinking about it earlier on.
I think of what's. I'm gonna have a look and see what was on my best of list, because I think from last year, because that'll give me a good kind of.
But I mean, like, if you're thinking about one that's like a statement, this needs to be seen in a cinema. I kind of wonder.
I'd like to have seen Mulan on the big screen to see if it altered my.
Oh, that's a good shout. Yeah, whether it would have improved.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout.
To Five Bloods?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually might be the answer, Mark.
I think the Five Bloods is mine, but I think your Mulan shout there, Bex, is a really good one.
It just seems like something that should be seen
Cinematic.
at scale, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mulan or the Five Bloods.
I mean, I would have loved to have seen Wolf Walkers on a big screen. I don't. Next to the Five Bloods, I don't think that's the answer, but I would have really, really liked to have seen Wolf Walkers on a big screen. Yeah, and I mean there were opportunities. Like it did get. I know Noel actually took his kids to see it. I don't think it played anywhere in Wales in the cinema. So yeah.
I mean, I think that there's one where we're all missing that we shouldn't be missing.
Go on.
Eurovision.
I wouldn't mind seeing that on the big screen, actually, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would have been fun.
Yeah, I've also watched Holiday and I've been very happy to watch that on the big screen.
I mean, like, it's they're coming out in the cinema, like, tomorrow anyway, but, like, Mortal Kombat and Godzilla vs. Kong, I would have liked to have seen on the big screen. I'm not gonna see them on the big screen now because...
You've already seen them?
I mean, I've already seen them, and there's quite a lot of other stuff I want to get to. I mean, like, literally... I'm going to be at the cinema pretty much every other day for like the next week and a half from tomorrow. So there's too much, which is great. It's a lovely problem to have.
Yeah, it's that great problem to have, isn't it? And then our final question is Rick at Richard Kidd. I'm not sure I've ever heard you talk about the Monty Python films in the show. My memory could be failing me, but what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, probably haven't, to be fair, have we? Which probably gives an indication as to, like, they're not great rewatches for me. Holy Grail by far is my favourite. I know people are massive on Life of Brian. I like Life of Brian fine, but the Holy Grail is just very, very silly. And I really just enjoy the silly Monty Python. Like the Camelot song and, you know, the Knights Who Say Knee and the knight that just chops all the limbs off and whatnot. It's and also, I mean, like, just the the opening titles of Holy Grail are fucking incredible.
The animated ones.
Oh no, it's just literally titles, but it's like it starts like apologizing for things and then doing stuff in like a different language, and like it there's like a whole little like mini meta story within the opening titles of the Holy Grail that is fucking great. And also just the fact that the ending is like literally just like the camera falling over and then like the film just going funny, and then that's the end. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I've not watched them in a really, really long time. I remember finding them funny when I did watch them. I think I find it off-putting when I find specifically John Cleese, but I think there's another one as well, quite problematic now, and a bit like, oh God, really? Did you say that? And I think Fawlty Towers probably exacerbated that for me with John Cleese, because I really didn't like that. And it's just kind of maybe prevented me going back and revisiting them. I do like The Life of Brian. I think it's really funny, or I remember it being really funny. And again, The Holy Grail, the Tis But a Flesh Wound Night, and The Knights That Gunny are in that as well, aren't they? I find it funny, but then it's kind of catchphrase comedy, isn't it, a bit, and the more it gets referenced, the less I want to go back to it. Off you go, Mark.
If Monty Python was anywhere near as funny as people think it is, I want to tell you it is, then it would literally be the only comedy that existed.
I mean, it's got its fans though, hasn't it? And that's allowed. People are allowed to like.
People are allowed to like it, and I'm glad that people do. I don't get it.
No.
I just do not get it with Monty Python. I have tried. I've watched all of them a couple of times.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they are just inherently not funny. There is funny bits within it. But they have zero rewatch value for me. It was funny when it happened. If I watch it again, I no longer find it funny. Their movies, I think, now that everything's available, virtually within minutes, I think that when I was growing up and things weren't available, and you got something and you took a chance on it, everything you watched, you were taking a fucking chance on. Because if you rented something from the video store,
that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was the fucking movie you could watch. You couldn't then, when you finished that, you were basically left with the handful of movies that you had.
Yeah.
So it's not like now where you can watch a movie and go, well, that was shit, and you could immediately palate cleanser it. And I'm not saying they're shit.
No.
But I remember renting Life of Brian and Holy Grail the same night.
Wow.
And going, right, here we fucking go, because they've been bigged up to me.
Yeah.
And then I remember watching them and going, yeah, they were really funny and everything like that. And then I bought them on VHS years later. I bought all three of them. So I bought Holy Grail, Life, Brian, and Being Alive. And it's £15 at HMV. And I was like, right, here we fucking go. And I sat down and watched them, and I got like halfway through the Holy Grail and was a bit like, I remember kind of enjoying this. And it's not that I wasn't enjoying anything. I was going, and then I watched Life of Brian. I thought maybe it's just like that, and I was like, and there are bits in it that are amusing. Like the what the Romans have done for us. Well, Road was funny. I just think Meaning of Life is probably my favourite of them because it's just a series of vignettes.
Yeah.
And so I think that wasn't, what is it, move on to the next, it worked better for me.
Did you ever watch Flying Circus? Did you ever watch the show?
Yeah, it's basically, Saturday Night Live, where there's so much of it that eventually it's bound to be funny.
Right.
It's a bit like that.
Okay.
I do think that Monty Python is a thing where it has its fans and people think it's great and things like that. But I think as a general thing, as the series more than the films, it is something that people think is funny, not think was funny,
or remember being funny,
but might not have actually ever seen it that much to know that it wasn't always that funny, because your dad had a best of video. You basically, the clue's in the fucking caption there.
Yeah, but I mean that's firmly referenced in the TV shows, I suppose, rather than the films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So that was our question.
I'm revisiting the Monty Python movies, actually.
That's cool. You can revisit them all you want. I will not partake.
That is fine.
I will watch some Pauly Shore instead.
I mean, it remains to be seen who will be winning there.
Me.
They're on what's it? Netflix. Meaning of Life, isn't it? Holy Grail and Life of Brian.
Cool. What are we covering next week, guys?
All the things.
We're covering a lot, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I think at a minimum, it's Spiral, Army of the Dead, The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It, and The Unholy.
I don't know whether, you would prefer to see that Sheridan one, wouldn't you?
Those Who Wish Me Dead, yeah.
So I would think in some way we'll be covering all of those movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe one of us covering one of them. Because you see that fucking Angelina Jolie movie, don't you?
But I think there's a possibility I might like that enough to be able to watch it multiple ways.
I really want to see The Unholy. It sounds like a fucking cheesy horror, and that in the cinema, I love the idea of seeing
Well, the thing is, what could be quite good if we watch The Unholy next week is I'm not hosting next week, so I won't have to pronounce the director's name.
Oh, okay.
Does he have a name?
Yes. It's got an awful lot of S's, and I think that it would be wrong and remiss of us as a podcast to try and make me say it.
It's got Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it, though, Mark. How could you not be excited?
It's got other people in it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, William Sadler, Carrie Elwes.
It's got a good cast.
Carrie Elwes, great.
I will never not like him, just purely because of The Princess Bride.
I don't like The Princess Bride.
Evans.
Just as a little bit of notice, given Mark and Becky's going away and then kind of catching up with films after, we're recording this on Sunday, probably have this out midweek in the week. We're recording Wednesday of not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after next. So there is probably going to be a bit of a delay between episode postings, more so than usual. So just FYI on that. But it's essentially, if we recorded on Tuesday, it means we couldn't all get to a screening of The Conjuring 3. So, and we wanted to fit that in. So that's what we're going to do. So it's a big show for $3.99 next week.
Yeah, it's going to be bumper because you have 5 main reviews and then everything that me and Becky watch.
Yeah, quite.
While we're away, which will include probably all of the Saw movies, and both Hot Tub Time Machines.
Yeah. And random shit.
Yeah.
And maybe some more Resident Evil Village. Woo! Maybe. I know you've not decided whether you're letting me take the PS4 yet, have you?
Yeah, I've not decided yet, no.
I love you.
I love you too.
You're hosting, Mark.
Yes, I am. Yes. My wife wants to take the PlayStation away with us on holiday.
Right, just to clarify.
If I could get away with that, I would.
Eh?
If I could get away with that, I would. I know where you're coming from, Bex.
To clarify, Mark does enjoy an afternoon nap when we go on holiday. And I don't have a TV show on the go this time. Normally I'm watching a series of American Horror Story or The Haunting of Hill House or something like that, and I'm not at the moment. So I'm really just thinking of you, not feeling guilty.
What happened last time we took the PlayStation away with us, Becky, when you had a game on?
I stayed up quite late, didn't I?
Yep.
I won't do that this time.
Like, should we go to bed, Becky? I'm just staying and play this Resident Evil game till 4 in the morning, 3 nights out of the 5.
To be fair, right, playing a horror game in a darkened cabin in the middle of fucking nowhere is amazing. It very much adds to the atmosphere.
You're not selling the fact that you're not going to stay up and play this till 10 hours in the morning.
I'm not. I won't.
Well, that was episode 398, guys. What?
I just pulled my own hair.
Oh, you looked at me like I made a big fuck up.
I said ow.
Yes, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for joining Rebecca.
Thank you very much, Matt.
And thank you very much for joining me, Ian.
I need big poo-poo.
And on that note, goodbye.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.